So, folks, we're getting ready to do a Dunning letter template demonstration. All right, be very, very careful. The instructor actually had a little bit of a trouble with this herself. You're going to sign into you're going to sign out of the training environment like what you've been doing with Casey Brown and some of the other folks, Jim Jones. What you're going to have to do is you're going to do this user ID called FAADMIN. So that's going to be what? My Fusion administration here. You must use this password that they've had listed in the courseware. The generic password that was given to you to work with all the other IDs are not going to work with you in this particular feature. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to my reports analytics. We're going to go out there, we're going to open up our shared folders, and then we're going to go into the financials, and then we're going to go into the area that's known as collections. And all they're doing here is that we're looking at the seeded data that is being provided for us via BI Publisher. Now, we were talking about the BI Publisher before as it relates to Oracle payments. We were mentioning that there are certain formats, like your message formats, that you're going to go out there and use BI Publisher out for the framework of that. So let me go ahead, do this presentation. All right, so I have already signed back in underneath the AAA. This almost sounds like the Federal Administration for Airfare. And where we're going to go is that we're going to go over here to the navigator. And all we're doing is that we're coming down into what are known as my reports and analytics. All right, now we saw a similar strategy when we were working with what? With the balance sheets. And we saw that we had my folders and we had our shared folders. And what we're working with is that we are going to go out there and expand the shared folders. All right, and so we're just expanding this. All right, so now what we want to do is we're going to go into the financials. All right, now as you can see that we've got multiple folders here for our financials. We've got the payments, that was one of the big ones we have. We've got some of our expenses over in here. What we're going to do is we're going to expand what is known as the collections. Okay, and when we're in here, we've got we've got two. We've got what are known as our aging, and then what we also have is that we have what are known as our correspondence. And that's pretty much where our Dunning letters are going to sit. So let me expand the correspondence here. Now what you're going to see is that we've got what is known as the Dunning letter original. The Dunning letter original, that represents that this was a deliver template. They're just letting you know that if you really have to go out there and create something, it'd probably be best for you to go ahead, highlight this, hit the create duplicate button, and then create it from that fashion. All right, so just make copies of it. In the meantime, what we're going to do is that we are going to click on this particular item. Okay, and the system's going to ask me, what do you want to do? Do you want to do an edit? Do you want to do a history of it, or do you want to see some more options? So I'm going to come through the more. Okay. And now this brings me into my area where I can go out there and I can work upon this particular feature. All right. So now that I've got my Dunning letter established here, what we can do is up here, these are some of the areas that we can go out there and we can work on this particular functionality. Let me go ahead. I want to go ahead and expand the more that's associated with our original. And as you can see, when I select the more, this is where we can go out there and we can do the copy. Okay. So what I'm going to do is that we can also come out here. Let's just go ahead and do the copy. Okay. Not quite sure. I'm looking for my little symbol to go out there. While we're waiting for that, I can also come over here and I can do what is known as the edit. And then this would be the area if we were doing an edit. This is where we would go out there and actually make any corrections or tweak any values that we need to go out there and process. And we're just waiting for the system to refresh the screen. All right, looks like we're starting to transfer our data. All right. So here we have the copies of the soft Dunning letter, the medium Dunning letter, the hard Dunning letter, and then we've got the final demand. And what we can do is that we can come in here, we can edit it, we can go out here, we can look what are known as our properties. Okay, so in here we're seeing that this is going to be done in English, that's our choice. And then what we can do is that if we need to go out there and do any translation, we can go out there and identify what the translation should be based upon. So that's all they're basically having you do, is they're just having you kind of go through some of these elements out here. Let me go ahead and hit the return. Let me go ahead and hit the edit. The recommendation is if you are going to edit this, it's going to ask you, what do you want to go ahead and edit this feature in? And let's see if I've got Microsoft Office. I don't think I've got Microsoft Office. But the recommendation is that you would go ahead and you would edit this in, oh, good to know. Let me see if I can minimize this. There we go. That we can go out there and we can do the edits in here. And so we can go out there and we can say, subject courtesy reminder, this is a friendly reminder. You go out there, you make whatever corrections that you need to make on it, and then you would just go ahead and save this information on your respective drives. So that's all I wanted to do, is just talk a little bit how you can go ahead and copy a template and how you can go out there and go in and do a modification.